My name is James, and during the winter of 1992, the air in Brisbane was imbued with a refreshing crispness, as if each breath inhaled a clean slate of possibility. The cool breeze carried with it a sense of renewal, perfectly mirroring the blossoming hope that unfurled within my heart like the vibrant colors of a new dawn. At 24, I found myself earning a meager living in a dimly lit warehouse in Fortitude Valley, spending my days stacking boxes that seemed to echo the monotony of my life. But despite the drudgery of my dead-end job, I felt a spark of hope ignite within me, fueled by two remarkable constants: my best mate David, whose infectious laughter could brighten even the dullest of days, and the mesmerizing girl he had just introduced me to, Chloe. She was a whirlwind of energy, her presence a vibrant contrast to the gray confines of my daily grind, promising adventure and excitement just on the horizon. David and I had been inseparable since our high school days, bound by a friendship that felt as natural as breathing. He radiated confidence, a true charmer with a disarming smile that could light up the dullest of rooms. In contrast, I was more the quiet observer, preferring the comfort of the shadows where I could take in the world without being the center of attention. One vibrant Friday night, as we stood in the plush lobby of a stylish hotel, he clapped me on the back with a familiar warmth that made me feel at ease. The city lights danced on the surface of the river behind him, reflecting a kaleidoscope of colors that seemed to pulse with life. "Mate, there's someone you have to meet," he declared with an infectious excitement that demanded my curiosity. Trusting him implicitly, I felt a flutter of anticipation mixed with my usual caution. And there she was, Chloe. Her hair flowed like dark honey, catching the soft glow of the pub's dim lights, while her laughter sliced through the evening's ruckus, wrapping around me and making the rest of the world fade away. From that very first night, an undeniable spark ignited between us, something electric and exhilarating. Our first real date unfolded along the picturesque South Bank parklands, freshly opened and alive with possibility. As we strolled, our fingers trailed through the shimmering waters of the man-made beach, the gentle lapping at our hands mirroring the thrill of our connection. I couldn't help but feel a pang of self-consciousness about my tattered jeans, so mundane compared to her effortlessly chic ensemble. But as I shared tales of the monotony that characterized warehouse life, I was captivated by her rapt attention. She listened not just with her ears but with her entire being, transforming my mundane ramblings into stories worthy of her focus, making me feel seen in a way I had never experienced before. We slipped into a rhythm that felt almost surreal, as if time itself had conspired to weave our moments into a perfect tapestry. Weekends became our cherished sanctuary, a refuge from the chaos of city life. With the engine of my weathered Holden Commodore rattling a familiar, comforting tune, we would embark on spontaneous escapes. One Saturday, we set our sights on the Sunshine Coast, the warm breeze swirling through the open windows, and the melodic sounds of crowded house enveloping us like a warm embrace. Upon arrival, we sought out a greasy parcel of golden fish and chips at Moololaba. Sitting atop the sun-bleached sand wall, we found ourselves in a playful battle against the ambitious seagulls swooping in, hoping for a taste of our feast. The sun kissed our skin with a gentle warmth, and the intoxicating scent of salt water filled the air around us. I couldn't help but watch her as the wind wove through her hair, creating an ethereal halo around her. Her eyes fluttered shut, a serene smile spreading across her face, as though she were capturing and engraving this moment in her memory. As she traced the lines on my palm with delicate fingers, her voice was soft yet confident as she spoke of a long and joyous life ahead, one brimming with days that mirrored this perfect afternoon. Like a lovesick fool, I hung on to her every word, my heart racing as I succumbed to the feeling of falling hard and fast, completely convinced that I had found the love of my life. Our adventures weren't always filled with grand escapades. Some of the most cherished moments were found in the tranquility of the ordinary. We would spend countless hours nestled in her quaint Queenslander cottage in Paddington, where the air was heavy with the intoxicating scent of jasmine wafting in from her lush garden. In her cozy kitchen, barely big enough for the two of us, we would prepare steaming pasta, the rich aroma mingling with the rustic charm of the space. As we sipped on inexpensive red wine, our laughter and words flowed effortlessly, drifting between the profound and the mundane. We shared slices of our lives, delving into conversations about our families, our innermost fears, and the dreams we hesitated to voice. She aspired to be a teacher, her passion shining through her every word, while all I longed for was a sense of happiness that felt just out of reach. "You will be," she would say, her fingers entwining gently with mine across the time-worn wooden table, anchoring me in her warmth. "We will be." Those tranquil nights, with the vibrant city humming just below us, felt like the very dawn of forever, filled with the promise of countless tomorrows. David was a constant and effervescent presence lingering just on the fringe of our gatherings. With infectious laughter and a quick wit, he would effortlessly transform any event into a lively occasion. At our barbecues, he was the one arriving with ice-cold beer in hand, his jokes bouncing around like the flickering flames of the grill, always igniting smiles among us. I viewed his friendship with Chloe as a natural extension of the bond we shared, a testament to the depth of his character. When it came time to choose a birthday gift for her, David accompanied me to the jewelry store, his enthusiasm palpable. He examined a delicate silver necklace with such tenderness, it was as if he were cradling a precious secret. "She'll adore this, mate," he declared, holding it up to catch the light that danced off its surface, illuminating the exquisite craftsmanship. "It's simple, elegant, just like her." His insight into Chloe's taste felt like a brotherly gesture, a silent endorsement of my feelings for her. He was my most ardent supporter, always inquiring about my life with genuine curiosity, offering wise counsel whenever I seemed uncertain. "She's a special one," he'd say, his eyes sparkling with a knowing grin, as if sharing a delightful secret. "Don't mess it up." In those moments I felt a profound sense of gratitude for his unwavering friendship, knowing he always had my back. The first shadow fell on a Friday, wrapping the evening in an unsettling stillness. I had wrapped up work early, the thrill of anticipation fueling my decision to surprise Chloe. As I glided down her tree-lined street, my heart raced with excitement. However, my eyes fell upon David's unmistakable red Datsun, its vibrant color partially obscured by the sprawling branches of a jacaranda tree, its blooms flickering like whispers of spring. A sudden wave of unease washed over me. David was supposed to be at a university lecture clear across town. My mind raced with questions as I waited, gripping the steering wheel, the cool leather digging into my palms. Was he merely visiting a friend nearby? I tried to convince myself that was the case, but the knot in my stomach only tightened, cold and foreboding. I felt a sense of dread rise within me, gnawing at the corners of my peace. With reluctance, I turned the car around, my earlier excitement dissipating as the surprise I'd planned faded like the setting sun behind the horizon. The cliffhangers of my own denial continued to accumulate, each one sharp and unsettling. I remember the evenings when I would dial her number, the phone ringing out into an empty void, only for her to return my call an hour later, her breathless voice, a flimsy veil over the truth as she insisted she had been caught up in the shower. There were the times when David would probe about our relationship, his inquiries laced with an unsettling specificity, his gaze piercing and scrutinizing, a flicker of something inscrutable dancing in his eyes, before he would flash that well-practiced reassuring grin. Each of these moments felt like a tiny jagged tear in the delicate fabric of my seemingly perfect world, yet I persisted in stitching it all shut, desperate to preserve the fragile dream I clung to. I was so blinded by the euphoria, I once felt that I could not bear to confront the lurking shadows of the truth. The breaking point arrived on a dreary Thursday night in August, the rain tapping rhythmically against my window like a persistent reminder of the evening's melancholy. Chloe had abruptly canceled our date, her voice sounding both thin and feeble over the line, as she explained she'd succumbed to a relentless flu that left her feeling utterly drained. I offered to bring her comforting soup, a warm gesture that I thought might brighten her spirits, but she gently insisted that all she needed was sleep, her fatigue palpable even through the phone. Worried about her, and left adrift with nothing to do, I decided to reach out to David, hoping we could salvage the evening with a casual beer. I dialed his number with a sense of anticipation, but only silence greeted me. He didn't answer. The rain persisted outside, and with each drop, the weight of the night settled heavier on my shoulders. A sudden crack echoed in my mind, shattering the calm facade I had desperately tried to maintain. The vivid image of his Datsun parked on her familiar street resurfaced, an unwelcome specter that had been lurking in the shadows of my thoughts for weeks, refusing to leave me in peace. Clenching the steering wheel tightly, my heart thundered against my ribs, a wild and unnerving beat that matched the tension coiling in my stomach. Instead of steering towards my usual haunt, the comforting familiarity of my local pub, I chose a different path. I drove with determination toward Paddington, the anticipation of what lay ahead both exhilarating and terrifying. Her lights shimmered like a beacon, casting a warm, inviting glow that cut through the dreary sheets of rain, transforming the night into a cozy refuge. And there it was, bold and unapologetic, the red Datsun nestled in her driveway like an unexpected guest, daring to disrupt the tranquil scene. Raindrops cascaded down, plastering my hair against my forehead as I made my way to the window, my movements mechanical, driven by an invisible force. I leaned closer to the glass, peering through a slender gap in the billowing curtains, my breath clouding the chill of the window pane. It brought back memories of the kitchen where we had once danced, the laughter lingering in the air like the scent of forgotten spices. As I gazed into the distance, I caught sight of them, shadowy figures emerging through the haze, each one distinct yet shrouded in an air of mystery. They were enveloped in a silence that spoke volumes. They were far beyond just friends. David stood behind her, his strong arms encircling her waist, a protective barrier as she leaned back against his broad chest, her laughter spilling forth like a melody that once resonated solely with me. He pressed gentle kisses along her neck, each one causing her to turn slightly, her eyes meeting his as their lips finally connected. It was no mere chance encounter. It was a tender, lingering kiss that exuded familiarity and depth. It was the kind of kiss shared by lovers who believed they were hidden away in their own private sanctuary, oblivious to the world beyond the closed door. The world didn't simply halt. It disintegrated into countless silent, razor-sharp fragments, each one shimmering with an ominous glint. The rain poured down relentlessly, its droplets rhythmically tapping against the glass like a mournful dirge, while the pale light filtering through the window cast eerie shadows across the room. The very air around me felt heavy and invasive, as if it were a trespasser in a sacred space. I watched in despair as my entire future, the one she'd carefully sketched into the lines of my palm, dissolved into the cold, damp embrace of the night, leaving behind only an aching void. I didn't bother to knock. Instead, I turned away, a decision that felt more like a retreat than a choice, and walked back to my car. The sense of betrayal enveloped me like a heavy fog. I drove to the Story Bridge, the familiar route feeling strange and surreal, and parked with the city sprawling before me, each light flickering like stars fallen to earth. As I sat there, the vibrant hues of the skyline began to blur into a watercolor of streaks, illuminated by the shimmering veil of my tears. It struck me with an unbearable clarity. This wasn't just about a friend engaging in an affair with my girlfriend. It was a cruel deception that had been meticulously crafted. He had handed me the keys to my greatest joy, only to slyly pull the rug out from under me. The love of my life and my closest confidant, two integral pillars of my existence, had turned out to be mere illusions, the mirage of a life I was unwittingly living. As the first light of dawn broke over the Brisbane River, casting a harsh and unforgiving glow upon the city, a profound sense of solitude washed over me. What had once felt like a fresh start now resonated like the chilling emptiness of a grave, the crispness of the morning air mocking my sense of loss. I felt as though I had been left stranded in a world where joy and trust had vanished, abandoned utterly and irrevocably alone.